Howdy guys, how yous doing today? So, if you notice, I am not in my house. So where am I? I am about a mile away from my house at my friend Jonathan Denson's house in a small neighborhood called Woods Run. And Jonathan Denson is a historical house blogger. He's passionate about everything old house. So here I'm helping him out today. This kitchen, before I filmed this video, had ugly 1970s paneling on the walls. It still had the framework for a drop ceiling. And so moving on from ripping all that out, I am removing the old plaster that is bubbled and hanging off the walls and ceiling that needs to come down or otherwise it'll collapse. All the other plaster that is in good condition is going to be restored. So that's a key thing to remember when looking at the damage that I'm doing to this old plaster. So yeah, so why am I doing this video? I was thinking as I was gutting, you know, if only I had an iPhone when I first bought my house, so I could do videos from the beginning. And the first things that I did when I bought my house was clean out all the garbage, and then two was remove all the plaster and lath. However, I had never done that before, and I learned the hard way just different tips that make removing plaster and lath easier. So that's what my video is about today. Number one, when removing plaster and lath from a house is clean the room. Get everything out of the room that you do not need, except for your tools. So just clean up the room, make the space clean so that you're not having all this crap come down on any items that you have in that room. Number two is seal off the doorways. So he has a doorway into the front room of this little cottage. And he's not living here, so I'm not too concerned about some dust going in there because that room also needs work. Okay, so number three is when removing plaster, which I just take a crowbar and you start at one soft spot and you start working your way up, and it usually in the worst parts it'll come off in big sheets. Sometimes you kind of have to hack at it a little bit, but as it falls onto the floor, shovel it up, put it into buckets, and either dump it in the dumpster or it's mostly organic material, so you can use it as fill if you want to. But a tip to this is, you know, when I first bought my house and I gutted everything at once, I ripped off the plaster as well. And with the, I ripped off the lath with the plaster. It mixed into the floor and it created this big mess where I couldn't shovel up the plaster because all the wood was sticking the shovel, almost like when you're shoveling a sidewalk and you hit that next piece of sidewalk and it hurts. So definitely a big rule or tip is that do the plaster first, then next do the lath. And when you're doing the lath, as you're pulling off the pieces, I strongly suggest that you put them into small piles of like 30 or 50 and then bundle them. Even if you're using a dumpster, by doing this, you'll get a lot more room in your dumpster. I usually use it to burn or for gardening projects because it's good old wood. But also, if you just start ripping it off and throwing it in a pile, you find that you actually do have to put it into neat, orderly piles afterwards, because otherwise you're going to just stab yourself while you're trying to grab this pile of wood because there's so many tack nails in it. So those are my simple tips on ripping out and gutting walls, and I hope some of these will be helpful. You know, this is even for just a small project. So anyways, I hope yins are all having a good evening, and I'll talk to you later.